you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Laflamme coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Laflamme. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. LaBita.tv. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro, I'm back. What's going on with my screen here? It looks like there's too many things in the way. Does everybody hear me or what? This is the first time I'm back since my trip to Portugal, so I don't even know if I know how to do this anymore type of thing. You know what I mean? But anyway, here we are, and I am back, and I'm not in a very good mood tonight for a couple of reasons I'm going to talk to you about in a second. But yeah, I'll talk to you about it. I'm not in a very good mood tonight. The Sick Podcast brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different. Also brought to you in part by Labita TV, brewed in Quebec, a winner of a dozen international awards. Labita TV offers quality microbrewery beers made with premium ingredients for everyone's taste. Labita TV, embrace your true nature. Also brought to you in part by Playground, over 30,000 square feet of new gaming, dining, and entertainment space. Time to reacquaint yourself with Playground. World-class sushi, AAA steaks, live shows, a brand new poker floor, and so much more. Located just over the Mercier Bridge, only minutes from downtown Montreal. Playground, experience the strip without the trip. And, of course, brought to you in part by Accent Insurance Solutions. And all insurance isn't created equal. I've told you that already. You know where to find the right solution for you. It's with Accent Insurance, because what they do, they don't sell insurance. They actually shop it for you so that you can find the right product, right on the money, the right price, whatever your insurance needs, whether it's home, automobile, or business. And when you take a look at their phone number, or when I'm going to say out their phone number, you're basically going to think of my buddy Sergio Momesso, because he wore number 36. The number is 363-3636. That's 514-363-3636. Call the Accent team today. The Montreal Canadiens, I wouldn't say shock the hockey world, because this is what hockey is. It's 82 games. And once again, you can lose to the worst team in the San Jose Sharks. You can beat one of the best teams in the New York Rangers. You can beat one of the best teams and one of the best offenses in the Colorado Avalanche. And then you can give up, 4 goals to Buffalo in one period. It's anybody can beat anybody on any given night. That's what the National Hockey League is. I'm going to tell you, I should be excited tonight, because I thought Suzuki was real good. I thought Caulfield had some jump in his step. Yoel Armia, out of all guys, once again, you know what, quietly having a pretty good season for the Montreal Canadiens. If you would have told me before the season started, or when the season started, and we found out that Armia was going to Laval, that on January 15th, he'd be 4th for the Montreal Canadiens in goals, and he'd have 7 goals, and he'd have the same amount of goals on January 15th than he had all of last season, only do it in 16 fewer games, I probably wouldn't believe you. But anyway, we have a lot to talk about tonight, and let's get it all started with Nicolas Cloutier of TVA Sport. Nick, what's going on?
Real good, Tony, and don't worry, you haven't lost it, buddy. It's like hopping on a bicycle for you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, but look, I'm an open book, okay? I'm an open book, so I'm gonna just say it the way it is, all right? Sure. So I was away for 17 days, and where I was, by the way, I didn't have access to the app where I can have fun while watching games and watch it with a particular interest where I can put $1 or $2, right? So I came back to today and last night, and I said to myself, I go, you know what? Let me take a look at what's out there. And I was going to put a couple of dollars on the Vegas Golden Knights to beat the Nashville Predators by 2 goals or more. And I'm just about to click send on what would have been a real good payday, by the way. We lost Nick. Did we lose Nick? We lost Nick. All right. So now I'm talking to myself. I knew there was something wrong. You see, I'm talking to myself. Let me have a sip of water. That's a nice sip.
Sorry, Tony. Sorry, Tony.
Don't worry about it. I just took like what was supposed to be a sip of water, and I ended up drinking like half the bottle.
Oh.
So anyway, long story short, I'm just about to hit confirm bet, and I go, you know what? The amount that I wanted to put was a little bit excessive, and because anybody can beat anybody, I'm not going to do that. So I'll play a couple of parlays here and then. So then, anyway, long story short, I had a hunch that Raphael RV Pinard, who didn't have a goal yet this season, he works real hard. It's a big game for the Canadiens tonight against one of the best teams in the National Hockey League. They're coming off a couple of, losses here and there. I go, you know what? Let me put just a little bet on Raphael RV Pinard to be the last goal scorer in the game. So he's
the last goal scorer.
So he scores a goal to tie the game at 2. And so now the emotions I'm going through, I'm like, okay, please. It finishes 2-2 the second period.
I know where this is going.
Let this game go to a shootout. He's going to be the last goal scorer in the game. I'm going to win my bet. Anyway, the Canadiens, Yoel Armia scores to give the Montreal Canadiens a lead. And I say, you know what? Perfect. Because RV Pinard works hard. I bet you he'll be on the ice.
He'll be on the ice.
Hockey game. There he is. He gets a pass with an open net. Let's bring up the wager if we can. Let's look at that. 20.
Okay, so you have proof now, because I was gonna say, Tony, it's easy to say after the fact.
Yeah, 26 times your money. $16 wager for a return of 416. 16 for 416. There we go. Anthony.
Jesus, that's brutal.
One second, please. I have a son who's playing PlayStation right here with his buddies. He knows I'm doing a podcast. Not to mention, I'm nervous right now. I'm a little upset. And by the way, this happens when you put $1 or $2 on a game and it doesn't go your way. You tend to be in a bad mood. Anthony. Hello. Anthony. Okay. I'm doing the podcast and everyone hears you. You know the one that pays the bills? That puts food on the table? That little extra income that allows you to have fun on some of your entertainment? That's what I'm doing, okay? I do it weeknights, Monday to Thursday at 10 p.m. Yeah, but I heard... No, I'm nervous now. I'm nervous. Yeah. I also had Jonathan Drouin to take a couple of shots. And Drouin, I understand he's going through a good moment. He's picked up points. He's doing well. This guy doesn't shoot. He does not shoot. Pass. That's
Drouin.
Yeah, I know, but I figured, you know what? He's playing against his former team. He's probably going to want to score, right? So I went with the over 2 shots and a half. Last time I checked, I don't think he had any. He just kept on passing over and over and over and over and over again. Anyway. All right. Okay. So now I had a chance to vent. That's my story. I was going to put pretty big bucks on Vegas. I was going to end up winning real big. Okay. I decided not to. And instead I played a couple of little parlays and I put Raphael RV Pinard to be the last goal scorer of the game. And he missed an open net. What about how many feet out? 15?
Probably 15.
Probably 15 feet out. Yeah.
And Jake Evans just put it on the platter for him. Jake Evans could have just taken that puck and scored the goal himself, but he wanted to give that goal to Hervé Pinard. And see what he did?
You have no idea how much I like Raphael RV Pinard.
Mm-hmm.
I should say loved this kid. But right now, I'm not happy with him.
Okay.
But anyway, it is what it is.
I have my own parlay story. During the draft last year, this parlay would have fetched me $1,000. Okay, so it was a parlay where 6 scenarios add to it.
Yeah.
And at some point during the night, I was 5 out of 6. So the only thing I needed to hit remaining was the Quentin Musty had to be drafted before Edward Sally.
Yeah. That didn't happen, by the way, because Musty went 26. I
only needed this one remaining scenario. Add 5 out of 6. Only need this one to hit to fetch like $1,000 parlay.
Yeah.
So Tony, I feel your pain.
Yeah, no, that hurts, but it really hurts when your player misses an empty net. Yeah, that really That hurts.
Sure.
Anyway, so I got that out of the way. My rant is out of the way. I just that happens sometimes. It's just not your night tonight.
Yeah.
It's sometimes they say it's just not meant to be. Tonight it was not meant to be. I could have had Vegas. I didn't go. I ended up going with Rafael RV Pinard to be the last goal scorer. And you know what? I just F my life. Okay, now it's out of the way. Earlier this morning, Montreal Canadiens general manager Kent Hughes spoke with members of the media, had a press conference for the comment on the midway point of the season. I think, by the way, because the Canadiens played tonight and there's so many things to talk about the game and the players, that most of my comments regarding what Kent Hughes said earlier today will be for tomorrow night's podcast, okay? So tonight was game day. Wednesday night is going to be game night as well. Thursday night's going to be game night as well. I think I'm going to keep most of what Kent Hughes said earlier today for tomorrow night's podcast. And tonight we're going to talk about the game. All right, okay. Who are the real Montreal Canadiens? Are they the team that loses to San Jose and gives up 4 to Buffalo in the third or whatever it is? Or are they the team that beat the New York Rangers and the Colorado Avalanche in the last couple of weeks?
Well, why can't they be somewhere in the middle? Because they're not the team that lost to the San Jose Sharks, but I don't think they're the team we saw tonight either. I mean, they're not that team consistently, at least. And Martin St. Louis, he keeps repeating that, and I think he really likes that line. He keeps saying we're chasing consistency. Well, consistency, they're still chasing it, as far as I'm concerned, and they might still chase it next year. Because I mean, defensively is where I guess I'm worried, because they do have some depth defensively, but I think system-wise they still have a lot of lapses, and we still quite don't know, like, how do they want to play as a team defensively? Is it a zone defense? Is it a man-to-man? We're still confused, and we see the same mistakes happening game after game. Offensively, I mean, St. Louis doesn't have the horses yet. I mean, some people are going to come through the draft, and some pieces are going to fall in place. But I'm mostly worried about how cohesive this group is defensively since the beginning of the season. Because the goaltenders, they've been saving this team for a while now.
And by the way, Samuel Montembeault, of course, was absolutely fantastic on the weekend and has been fantastic over the last couple of weeks, especially. Jake Allen was very, very good tonight. I mean, who would have thought that Jake Allen would have beat the Colorado Avalanche? Maybe Jake Allen did, but Jake Allen did beat the Colorado Avalanche tonight. And it was a good game by him because, yes, he was helped by his posts on a couple of occasions. And of course, there was a fan shot at pretty much an empty net with about a minute to go in the game. But Allen made some big stops in this game. Notably, the ones that I can think of it was a bang-bang play. It was a couple of stops off Nathan McKinnon late in the hockey game, which are the ones that stick out. The Colorado Avalanche tonight got a lot of traffic in front of Jake Allen. They tried to get as many pucks to the net as possible.
You saw he was flustered a bit by the traffic in front of his net.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And listen, the quality of the shots that he's facing, when you're facing shots from McKinnon, you're facing shots from Rantanen, and you're facing shots from even Cale Makar, and it could be from the blue line. Makar tonight was, again, I mean, at times he was unbelievable. Nathan McKinnon at times was unbelievable. Samuel Girard with the puck was unbelievable. Without the puck, I thought he was a disaster. But
Devin Taves, we don't talk about him, but he's one hell of a player as well.
Devin Taves was unbelievable tonight. Yeah. But you know what? We're talking about all the Colorado Avalanche who were unbelievable, and the Montreal Canadiens end up winning this hockey game. I really like Nick Suzuki tonight. I mean, as much as McKinnon was unbelievable, like he was like going toe to toe with him. He was going head to head. At one point, we saw some trash talking up and down the ice. You saw Nick Suzuki. You don't normally see that side of Suzuki,
nope.
Nick.
No, he's mostly calm and measured. But not even Nick Suzuki. I'd say, Tony, it's one of the biggest positives I'm taking out of tonight's game is how the first line played as a whole. Not even only Suzuki. It's one of the best games that this first line played, and it bodes so well for the future if these three can gel together like that. And they've been gelling together the last few games, and it's fun to see those three just sticking together and St. Louis keeping that combination intact. Because you know what, Slafkovsky has been wowing me as well. He goes out of the corners. He seems to win every battle. I mean, he scores garbage goals, but you know what? I love the fact that he takes out the garbage, because it's a very consistent pattern of scoring he's finding right now. If you would tell me, oh, he's scoring these goals with these snipes from like the top of the circles again and again, I would be like, yeah, Tony, okay, but is that going to be sustainable? Because Slafkovsky is not Caulfield. Slafkovsky is not a sniper. No, Slafkovsky is scoring goals he's supposed to score right now. He's scoring goals that are reflecting his identity as a player. And it's such a good sign for his growth as a player to me.
I have something for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready for you.
Nathan McKinnon, Juraj Slafkovsky, Cale Makar. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Most shots on goal in tonight's hockey game. McKinnon 7, Slafkovsky 6, Makar 6.
And you know what, Tony? Yeah, he finished the game with 6 shots. I think he had 5 of those in the first period, if I'm not mistaken. He had a monster first period. Calm down a bit after, but in the first period, he was all over the ice.
When he scored that goal to tie up the game, and actually, you know what? Without further ado, why don't we bring up the lines for tonight's hockey game? Agnello, Sammy, Juliana, and Master Control. Let's bring them up here if we can. And we don't have them. I'm going to lose my mind, I think. I'm going to lose my mind. No room. Okay. We got to make room for the lines. Okay. They're a must. Every single game, we have to make room for the lines. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So anyway, what you need to know is that of course, the line that dominated for the Canadiens tonight was the line, once again, of Suzuki, Slafkovsky, and Caulfield. And by the way, I saw this on social media, but supposedly there was a show tonight that was talking about Slafkovsky being sent down to the 4th line or whatever it is. Yeah. And Slafkovsky's been up on the 1st line for about a month, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? You saw that? You heard that? Or
I saw that. It was all over social media. People were not happy about that coverage.
Yeah. That's you know, like.
I mean, at some point you have to watch the other Canadian teams. You know, Tony.
They've been together for about a month now, right? On the 1st line together for about a month. Stop
watching the Leafs and watch the Habs game at some point.
All right, okay. Jesse Ylonen, by the way, left this hockey game at one point. He got clipped, went to the locker room for some repairs, and so you saw on that Yoel Armia game-winning goal the work done by Armia and Stevens and even Monahan. But Yoel Armia, I got to tell you, I've never seen him work as hard as he did on that goal that he scored. It was absolutely unbelievable by Yoel Armia. Let's bring up the goal scorers in tonight's game. Let's see if we have that, or we got we got that. All right, thank you. Colton with his 10th on the power play at 4:28 of period number 1. Assists go to Drouin and Makar. And Colton was there. He was in front of the net. There's a shot by Makar that got deflected by Drouin. And then Colton got a couple of stabs at it. 1-0. Slafkovsky, less than 3 minutes later, power play goal as well for him. Caulfield to Suzuki. Nick Suzuki's passing ability. The pass to Caulfield the other night and the pass to Slafkovsky tonight, this is elite. Folks, I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people watching right now and a lot of people that will be listening tomorrow on Apple or Spotify or Google or whatever you want to use to listen. A lot of people will not consider Nick Suzuki elite. They will not consider Nick Suzuki a number 1 centerman, and a lot of people will. Nick Suzuki's passing ability is elite. It's off the charts. Nick Suzuki's hockey brain is elite. Nick Suzuki's wrist shot is not a 50 goal scorer wrist shot, but it's one level below elite. It's a very, very good wrist shot. Nick Suzuki's 200-foot game is elite. Nick Suzuki's getting better in the face-off circle every day. Tonight he was particularly strong in the face-off circle, going, what was it? I think it was 65% or something like that. Let me see if I can bring it up. Last time I checked, it was very, very high. It was in the mid-60s. It was 65.4% for Nick Suzuki tonight. So Nick right now does not put up elite points. Okay? He doesn't put up elite goal scoring. He doesn't put up elite points. But almost everything else is elite. And so he's on his way there.
Tony, you mentioned a lot of elite qualities.
Yeah.
So if he's elite in all those facets, at the end of the day, you must think he's an elite player, right?
I think he's an elite player. And you know what else I think?
So my question to you is...
When Slafkovsky becomes Slafkovsky in 4 years down the line, and Caulfield plays to Caulfield potential night in, night out, so he finds that consistency, I believe that Nick Suzuki will put up that 1 point per game that so many Canadiens fans are looking for. I believe he'll put it up.
But, I mean, a lot of players are able to put a point per game now in today's NHL because more goals are scored. So when we're saying elite, I just want us to be clear on the definition. If you take all the forwards in the NHL, is he what, like top 30, top 20, top 15? Where is he? Where's Nick Suzuki?
All the forwards in the NHL? I'll say this, okay? I'll say there's 32 teams in the National Hockey League.
Okay.
So for the sake of rounding it out, let's just say 32 players. He's in the top 32 forwards in the National Hockey League.
Okay. See, top 32, I don't know if that's elite for me, but it's semantics at this point.
Okay.
For me, elite is like top 10, top 15, you know?
Yeah, for me, top 10 is another level.
Okay.
And then after 10 to 30 is elite.
Sure. Then Suzuki can be elite, yeah.
But what do you think about that? When I say if we take 32 teams, 32 forwards, he's in the top 32 in the league.
Yeah,
We saw a stat last week, courtesy of Sportlogic, that he's what, top 13 or top 14 in terms of possession in the offensive zone?
Of course. I mean, he's elite in a lot of aspects. The only thing that it's just that there's some stretches during a season where you kind of lose Suzuki. And I think it's a matter of experience, I guess, and you're going to see less and less of that as he ages. But I mean, maybe a couple of months earlier, we were saying Suzuki isn't having that great of a season. And now the narrative has completely changed because Suzuki has been playing so much better and he's been carrying this team and he's been the engine of this team offensively. Yeah, that's clear. But we weren't having the same discourse earlier. So what I'm saying is, right now, if you look at his play right now, he's elite in a lot of aspects, and he's really been carrying this team. Like, there's no doubt about this. But there are always, I mean, there seems to be in the last 2 or 3 years some stretches of play during a season where he kind of disappears. And you know what? I think it's kind of normal because he's not that well surrounded, and he has a lot on his shoulders. But I think when we see those stretches of play where it disappears be less and less frequent, well, yes, he's going to take that step and he's going to be that point per game player. And we're going to talk about a Suzuki like an elite player. Sure.
All right. Cole Caulfield. Let's get back to the goals, actually. So Slafkovsky ties the game at 1. Mm-hmm. And then after that, let's go to period number 2. In period number 2, it's Cale Makar with a rifle of a shot. Raphael Harvey-Pinard working real strong and real hard. He's compensated for his efforts. He ties the game at 2. It's at that point that I'm
hoping. First goal since March last year.
Exactly. It's at that point that I'm hoping this game goes to overtime and they end up going to a shootout because I got Harvey-Pinard as the last goal scorer of the game to make a profit of $400. Now we get to period number 3. Cole Caulfield on the power play. This is a great pass by Suzuki once again. And Caulfield in close on a little bit of an angle. He beats Georgiev like upstairs, glove side like that. We talk about 40 goal scorers. and their ability to shoot the puck and pick corners, that was an elite goal scorer's shot. And Kent Hughes, Montreal Canadiens GM, was asked about Caulfield earlier this morning and asked if he was worried or he was concerned. And he said, I'm not worried. I'm not concerned. But yes, his goal scoring has gone down. If you take look at players in the National Hockey League that have scored 11 or 12 goals, and Caulfield had 12 coming into this game, he goes, his shooting percentage was like in the 7%. And that was like kind of like 112th in the National Hockey League. So he and the coaches have to find a way to bring up that shooting percentage. And then he said players that score goals, it's very tough to maintain consistency. Like the Ovechkins do it. They score 40 plus like every year. For everybody else, and guys that are not in that category, it's very hard. Because the one thing I don't want Caulfield to change the way he plays because he's starting to feel the pressure of having to score goals. And if I take a look at his demeanor on and off the ice and in the room, he goes, it leads me to believe that he's not feeling the pressure because he's still in very good spirits and he's a very important player for the spirit of the locker room. Anyway, he gives the Montreal Canadiens a 3-2 lead. Devin Taves is able to rifle one home himself, and he ties it at 3. Yoel Armia on some really hard work once again, especially by Armia on a line with Stevens and Monahan. Armia in close, he's able to pick the corner and put it in. And once again, Armia is 7th in like 16 fewer games than he did it a year ago. And let's take a look at the shots on goal. And there you have it, 16-13 for Montreal in period number 1, 13-10 for Colorado in period number 2. 9-8 for Colorado in period number 3, 35-34 overall for Colorado. The Montreal Canadiens won 61.4% of the draws tonight. They go 2 for 2 on the power play. Colorado won 1 for 4. The Canadiens, there was a 5-on-3 that they were able to kill off, which was, I thought, a big turning point in this hockey game. There were a couple of big turning points in the hockey game. And once again, that's a huge win for the Montreal Canadiens. Who would have thought they would have beat the Colorado Avalanche? They did, man. They really did. They really did.
I wouldn't have thought that either. And talking about Armia, man, he was playing with some jump tonight. Like even in the first period, the way he went through the neutral zone, and he just played with some speed. And even when I saw him with the Rocket this year, I mean, when he was sent down to Laval, I mean, I didn't expect Armia to show up and work and be a good vet. But honestly, he was the best player on the ice when I saw him with the Rocket. So I don't know if something clicked, and maybe it was the right call to send him here because he's playing some good hockey lately. And when he wants to play good hockey, the thing is, Joel Armia can very well play good hockey, but he doesn't always want to. Somehow he does want to these days.
Yeah. Kent Hughes earlier today also had a one-on-one with Jean-Charles Lajoie, of course, of TVA Sport. And Jean-Charles asked Kent Hughes, Jake Allen, it's out of the question to send them to Laval. And Kent Hughes looked at him and said, yes, Jake Allen, it's out of the question to send him to Laval. He's a real good veteran. He's had a real good career. He's very, very respected in that locker room. You don't do that to a guy like him type of thing. And it got me thinking, right, because Armia is a veteran in the National Hockey League too, right? He's been in the league for quite some time. But they had no problem sending Armia to the Laval Rocket twice.
No.
Right? Jake Allen. So, and because why? Because Allen gives you everything he's got, whether it's good enough or it's not good enough. You're not saying, I wish this guy would have tried more. You know that this guy is a gamer. He's working. Armia, unfortunately, not, because if you take a look at Armia's second effort on that play, if that would be Armia night in and night out, he'd be on the top 2 lines without question every night. If that would be Armia night in, night out, the way you saw him on that shift with that work ethic. As a matter of fact, it's a couple of weeks now. Armia's had a real good couple of weeks for the Canadiens.
I mean, Tony, I go even further than that. I mean, I remember Armia even during his draft year, he was touted as this future elite power forward. I mean, Armia, if you're only talking about his skills during his prime, he could have been like a first or second line forward easily. He could have scored like 60 or perhaps 70 points if that guy had the work ethic. I mean, his skills, If you ask the Montreal Canadiens players around the locker room, they will tell you Joel Armia as one of the heaviest shots on the team, as one of the best hands on the team. He's one of the most talented player of this Habs team. But like we said, he's not consistent, and he doesn't want to work every night. So that's what you get.
I'm wondering too if what Kent Hughes had to say earlier today. I'm wondering if that kind of lit a fire under Allen too, and made him feel good about himself when Kent Hughes was talking the way he was talking. Once again, for those of you who missed it, and I'll concentrate on this, I think, tomorrow at large, but Kent Hughes saying, yes, his decision to have 3 goalies in Montreal this season. The plan was not to finish the season with 3 goalies, but it's not 100% certain that a goalie will be traded between now and the end of the year. And what he did say is that, once again, the 3 goalies is because they felt that Caden Primo was going to be picked up on waivers if they were going to put him on waivers. So there you have it. What does that mean? Translation? It means Allen's going to be the guy they're going to trade. I think, Nick, anyway, correct me if I'm wrong. And
they're trying, Tony.
And if they can't do it this year before the deadline, well, they're going to try and do it next year before the deadline, when his contract is going to be up next year at the end of the year, of course. But that's the reason I think why they haven't traded Allen, because they haven't got the deal that they wanted to get. And so they're not just going to give him away. They're basically, these guys are stockbrokers, man. Gordon and Hughes, they are stockbrokers.
And don't forget John Segway,
the capologist, of course, of the team.
But Tony, their decision is made at this point. When Caden Primo showed promise this year and showed that when he bounced back and showed that he can play in the National Hockey League, their decision was already made that they were going to trade Jake Allen. But the thing is, trading Jake Allen really is not easy during the season because of the cap, of course. It is that extra year to his contract that also complicate things. If he didn't have that extra year and you would turn UFA, I mean, that's one thing. But with an extra year, it adds an extra layer of difficulty. But you know what? Jake Allen can be traded during the summer. That's the thing. He can be traded during the summer. It's way easier to make these trades during the summer. I think if he thought he could make a trade, he could trade Jake Allen, it would have already been done. So it's not going to happen at the deadline. But I think it's one of those things that get done during the summer.
Oh, you think it gets done during the summer? Yeah, look, it's possible it gets done during the summer. The way it's possible that it might go all the way to next year before the deadline. But let's be honest. Kent Hughes, Jeff Gordon, Marty St. Louis doesn't want to put up with 3 goalies for another 14 months. He doesn't want to do that. Montembeault doesn't want that.
Yeah,
but Primo doesn't want that. Allen
doesn't want to make a bad trade either, Tony. That's the thing.
What I was saying
poison is keeping 3 goalies, another is making a bad trade. Pick the best poison you can.
You're right, but once again, what I said was, you're probably right that it'll be done in the summer and not next year's deadline, because next year's deadline would be another 14 months. So what I'm saying is,
of course, yes,
they'll try their very best to pull it off, but before this year's deadline. And if they don't, they'll try their very best at that point at the draft. They're going to put their best foot forward here in the next couple of months. They'd rather not wait until next year before the deadline, because then Caden Primo's not playing as many games as they want. Montembeault's not playing as many games as they want.
I agree with you.
This 3 goalie system that drives coaches crazy, it's going to continue. So it's not good.
Hey, look, Tony, if we come in at the golf tournament next year at the Laval-sur-le-Lac and we still have 3 goalies, I mean, no bueno. There's a problem here.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. Look, Slafkovsky. I saw something from our buddy Grant McCagg. How would you evaluate Slafkovsky's defensive play the last couple of months?
I mean, you said elite quite a few times with Nick Suzuki. I would say Slafkovsky's play defensively has been bordering on elite. in terms of, if we include like things like a forecheck and all the off the puck play and the defensive play, I think it's really close to elite. I mean, Slafkovsky, as I see, is going to be one of the most efficient forecheckers in this league, bar none. And the space he creates in the O zone for Suzuki and Caulfield, it's really what makes this combination work. I mean, the amount of times, Tony, that he goes deep in the zone and digs a puck out of the corner with maybe two guys around him. He comes out from behind the net and he sets up Suzuki and Caulfield. I mean, he's been doing that countless times. It's kind of his trademark now. And when I love it that I mean, he made a bad pass in the neutral zone in the first period, and the first thing I noticed is he was so quick to get back on the play and repair his mistake. So that's what I love about him. Is really driven. Clearly has the right attitude, and that's one of the big reasons they made him the first overall pick. But the intangibles are there with Slafkovsky, and that's why he's been so solid defensively, in my opinion.
All right. Okay. Hey, I want to talk about it, and I want to get it away now. Get it out of the way now, because I obviously don't want to forget Bob the Fire. Bob the Fire, he's retiring. Robert Laflamme, who has covered the Montreal Canadiens for a very, very, very long time. Used to cover the Quebec Nordiques before that, right? He is a member of the media for NHL.com en français, LNH.com. He's retiring, and Marty St. Louis presented him with a Montreal Canadiens jersey with a number 35 in the back, autographed by the team, of course. Real nice gesture by the Montreal Canadiens. This is Marty St. Louis. It's Jeff Gordon. It's Kent Hughes. It's Chantal Machabée. This is who the Montreal Canadiens are right now. It's little things like this. It's pretty cool. Nice picture with Marty St. Louis and Bob the Fire, Robert Laflamme, right after the game, and it's made its way onto social media, which is pretty cool. I asked you about Slafkovsky's defensive play because our collaborator, Grant McCagg, regular collaborator, and also, of course, co-host of the Recruits Draftcast podcast on the Sick Media Network, was tweeting out that, in his opinion, Slafkovsky has been the Montreal Canadiens' best defensive forward in the last couple of months. He doesn't think it's been close. And supposedly on English television, they highlighted a couple of defensive mishaps or miscues, and they talked about the fact that he has to work on his defensive game. And Grant was saying, I don't know of another 19-year-old in the National Hockey League whose defensive game is nearly as close or as good as Slafkovsky's is. So, anyway.
I mean, there are a lot of concerns maybe with Slafkovsky's game. Maybe the way he sees the ice sometimes, the fact that he maybe does not use his shot as often as we would like. But defensive play, I mean, you're not paying attention if you're saying Slafkovsky has been having some issues defensively these last few games. I don't. If you're telling that to Matt, I mean, I don't know what you're seeing. Clearly, maybe I need some glasses. Maybe I need to go to Lazik MD, but we're not seeing the same games.
Okay, we're going to get to the Accent Insurance Solution moment of the game. What was the moment of the game for you? And before you say it, there's two of them that come to mind for me. Okay. I'm going to write it down on a piece of paper. This way, if you have the same moment that I have, by the way, the moment can be any moment of the game. Okay? Hold on a second here. Hold on.
Accent Insurance moment of the game.
Okay, so I'm going to write two things here.
Okay, so I need two moments?
No, one moment of the game.
Okay.
One moment of the game. So there are three moments. Okay. I put down three moments in the game that I thought were big-time moments in the hockey game, And ultimately, what you and I are going to choose is we're going to choose the accent insurance moment of the game, and I'll end up choosing the same one that you choose, but I have 3 of them that I just jotted down here. What do you have?
My moment would be Hervé Pinard's goal.
Wow. Your moment, RV Pinard's goal.
I'm so sorry, Tony.
It's not even one of the 3 that I jotted down. So you ready to see what I jotted down?
Well, sure. Yeah.
5-on-3 PK.
Okay.
Armia goal. Allen's 2 stops on McKinnon in close. That's what I had. But
good picks. But you know why I picked RV Pinard?
The goal that tied it at 2, by the way, was RV Pinard's goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's not only that, but the fact that RV Pinard, I mean, there's a guy that scored like 13 or 14 goals. He was a key player of that team on the last stretch of the season last year. And he had a rough go to the season. He was consistently injured, and it took quite a while to see the Hervé Pinard we saw last year. And I think he's a really important player for the Canadiens to get going. So the fact that we saw the good old Hervé Pinard of last season, I think, might be a turning point for him, maybe for the Canadiens to get some momentum going. But I think it's we cannot understate how big that goal was for him, Tony.
All right. Okay. So why don't we do this? I want to take a look at YouTube Live right now. What is your accent insurance moment of the game? Ultimately, I would go with the Armia goal that gave the Canadiens a 4-3 lead. You went with the RV Pinard goal that tied the game at 2. There's other moments. Let's read them out. Okay. Starting with 66 spinning, which is Stéphane Quebec Cité, Raphael RV Pinard's goal, he says. All right, okay. Others. Let's go. YouTube Live right now. What is your accent insurance moment of the game? Martin says Pinard's goal. Joseph says the 5-on-3 PK, the penalty kill. Julian says Pinard missing the empty net. Pierre Cloutier says Raphael RV Pinard's goal. Bobby says the game-winning goal is always the key moment in a 1-goal game. Picard says the Cole Caulfield snipe on the power play. Why don't I just end it here? Cole Caulfield's power play goal, the 5-on-3 PK, the 5-on-3 PK kill. You know what? I think maybe the 5-on-3 penalty kill.
It should be the 5-on-3 PK, Tony.
Yeah, I think the 5-on-3 PK is the one that probably has more votes right now. I'm not counting. I stopped at one point here, but I think that could be the one. All right, so why don't we do this? It's not going to be one of yours, and it won't be one of mine. This way, it'll be somewhat neutral, somewhat in the middle. The accent insurance moment of the game was the Montreal Canadiens killing off a 5-on-3 penalty kill, which gave the Canadiens all kinds of momentum, kept them in the game, and then they just came roaring back. And of course, ultimately, Yoel Armia ends up getting the game-winning goal. The Canadiens beat the Colorado Avalanche by a score of 4-3. We are going to take your calls in this sick podcast post-game edition, of course, right after the game between the Canadiens and the Avalanche. And so why don't we get to You Called?
You Called. Presented by Playground.
You Called, presented by Playground, of course. And why don't you call us at 1-888-585-SICK, 1-888-585-7425. Let's do that. 1-888-585-SICK, 1-888-585-7425. Give us a call right now and tell us what's on your mind. We're going to get to your phone calls. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Nick Suzuki, elite, yes or no? Cole Caulfield, maybe inspired by what the general manager had to say, or maybe motivated by what the general manager had to say this morning, because Kent Hughes was rather diplomatic, but if you could read between the lines, it almost sounded like he was saying he expected more from Cole Caulfield in terms of goal production. I think so do all Montreal Canadiens fans, because we know what he's capable of going on a basically on a pace of 46 goals last year. If you take a look at the way he was scoring at the rate that he was scoring on. Yoel Armia, his performance tonight, the effort on his game-winning goal. Montreal Canadiens beating the Colorado Avalanche. I mean, who would have thought that? I heard some predictions earlier on today on TV, on television. I mean, a lot of people were taking a look at saying, okay, Colorado Avalanche -1.5. They'll cover that. They'll beat the Montreal Canadiens. The Montreal Canadiens end up winning the game outright. 1-888-585-7425. I've been away. I was in Portugal for 17 days. And I wasn't doing post-game editions because, of course, when the games would be over at 9:45 p.m., it would be 2:45 a.m. Portugal time. So I wasn't about to do that. So I don't remember when was the last time I took calls. So you know what? Why don't you call me? Wish me a Happy New Year. I'll wish you a Happy New Year back. And let's talk Montreal Canadiens hockey right here on the Sick Podcast. I'm Marinaro, and joining me, of course, Nicolas Cloutier of TVA Sport. Before we get to those phone calls, speaking of that presser earlier this morning, is there one thing that caught your attention more than anything else?
I believe Anthony Martineau asked Kent Hughes about the draft decision regarding Reinbacher, because at the time when they drafted Reinbacher, the reason they provided was, we think we have more production coming out of our top forwards. Maybe that production hasn't materialized yet. I found Kent Hughes' answers interesting because he was basically saying it's just that the work isn't done yet as far as the forwards. But we did draft a forward first overall in the 2022 draft. We did draft. I mean, the three first players they drafted in 2022 were forwards. That was his answer. I mean, you can find it convincing or not. But and he did say that the plan was to add offensive players moving forward. Of course, and he acknowledged that people were thinking about Mishkov the same way people were thinking about Shane Wright. But he does seem still pretty convinced that Reinbacher was the right pick. I find it interesting because recently Marc-Antoine Godin mentioned in a podcast with Bezou, I believe, that internally the Canadiens, when they talk about Reinbacher, they see him as a kind of Noah Dobson, which I find very interesting because, as you know, Tony, Noah Dobson has been having an outstanding season with the Islanders.
Yeah.
It took him a few years to get going, but if Reinbacher could become that kind of D-man, even if Mishkov does become elite, that's still a great pick at 5.
If Reinbacher becomes Noah Dobson, it's a great pick. But my interpretation of Kent Hughes' answer today, there's 3 things that I thought of when he was answering the question, 3 or 4 things. One of which is, I think he knows that Anthony Martineau is the president of the Michkov fan club. The way he answered Anthony and brought up Michkov, I think he knows that Anthony was very, very high on Michkov back then and still is now. Number 1. Number 2, his answer tells me that he is very high on Reinbacher. Mm-hmm. And they think that Reinbacher is a better defenseman than maybe what's going to go in the draft this year, and that's why they drafted him. Mm-hmm. Number 3, it leads me to believe that they have a lot of confidence in the forwards that they have here already for drafting Reinbacher. Mm-hmm. And number 4, they're either going to use a defenseman, or who knows, it might be via free agency, to bring in a forward to help this group because they still believe that they are one forward away, and they can acquire that forward. Let's go to Sean. Sean, what's going on?
Hey, Tony, how are you?
Very good, very good. What's going on? Happy New Year to you and yours as well.
I just wanted to call in because nobody else was calling in, and I figured.
Oh my God!
First time caller.
Okay, welcome. I wish I can give you. Agnello hasn't told me that we've ordered some T-shirts or anything like that, so the only thing I could find on my desk right now is
pricing into your bid on me.
Is some duct tape. I don't know if you want me to send you the duct tape or not. What's on your mind, Sean?
I just wanted to say how excited I am with the Habs and how well they're playing.
Talk to me. Tell me about that.
Well,
how excited are you?
I don't know. I was having a little bit of, dilemma with my fandom, I guess. I was having a hard time there for a while.
Okay.
All the losing and the talk of the first round picks and, it kind of bummed me out a bit.
Okay.
But the recent play has really invigorated my fandom. And, RHP is playing well. Armia.
Armia's playing well, man. Armia's playing well. 7 games and 16 less games.
Allen's playing well.
Allen had a good one tonight. Hey, by the way, you know who else had a good one tonight? Michael Matheson had a good one tonight. Like it seemed like McKinnon and Makar and Rantanen, it seemed like those guys were on the ice the entire night. As a matter of fact, they had a power play, which ended up being after a 2-man power play. They called a timeout so that those guys could stay on the ice. Those guys played a ton tonight. Nathan McKinnon played 28 minutes and 56 seconds. Rantanen played 29-18. Makar played 29-17. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I think Colorado's going to win tomorrow night in Ottawa. I do. But you know what? Those guys playing those amount of minutes, maybe you might want to put $1 or $2 on the Senators tomorrow. I mean, how much gas are those guys going to have left in the tank tomorrow night?
The Sens?
They're elite athletes. I get it, but that's a lot of playing time, man. That's a lot of playing time.
Well, I have Batherson in my pool. I don't know. They're kind of not playing very well right now.
No. The Ottawa Senators right now are not playing well. I get it. They give up a ton of goals every game, and unfortunately, the Jacques Martin effect has not paid off. Nick, your thoughts on that? I know we're talking Habs here, but your thoughts on the Senators? I mean,
on the Senators?
Let's be honest. We all called.
Well, I'm going to say
for
this,
DJ
Tony.
Smith's job. All of us.
I'm going to say this, Tony. When you want a full-blown rebuild, sometimes think about the Ottawa Senators, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows all the time. Sometimes you rebuild and you're thinking it's only going to take 4 or 5 years. Sometimes it takes 8 years and you're never good. So I'm just saying.
Well, or the Oilers and the Leafs.
The Arizona Coyotes, but the Coyotes this year, I've seen them play some real good games. But the Coyotes and the Sabres, those are two organizations that did a rebuild, and they were in the basement for quite some time.
Well, Ingram's carrying the team on his back basically at this point.
Connor Ingram's playing real well. You're right about that. Hey, thanks so much for the phone call, and welcome once again. Your first call ever on the Sick Podcast. I appreciate it, my man. I appreciate it. So somebody, I posted my bet of $16 to win 416 of Rafael RV Pinard to be the last goal scorer in tonight's game, and somebody replied, "Are you betting on the games?" I'm allowed. I don't work for the Montreal Canadiens, so right? I'm allowed. Am I allowed, or did I? I'm allowed.
You, Tony. You're allowed to lose your money however you want.
I'm allowed. Yes, I'm allowed. Yeah, Jeremy.
Yes.
What's going on?
Oh, not much, man. I was just watching the game tonight. Really impressed with Nick Suzuki. Yeah, he did a great job.
Tell me what's going on with me.
What's going on with you, man? Well, you're just back from Portugal, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you what's going on. Okay. I have a mosquito bite that has been driving me crazy since the show started. And I've been scratching it, and it's been itching, and I've been scratching at it the whole time. I just put a piece of duct tape over it. Like, I've never done this before in my life, but I put a piece of duct tape over my mosquito bite.
Tony,
which is on my right ankle.
So stupid.
Yeah.
Why? Why would you put duct tape on a mosquito bite?
Who knows?
I don't know, because I'm just scratching it.
Therapeutic or anything?
No, I know it's stupid, but the fact that I'm scratching it by having the duct tape there now, I'm hoping that I'll just since the tape's there, I won't scratch anymore.
Well, I would love to be there when you take it off, though. I would just love it.
But that's what I'm hoping for. That when I rip it off, for whatever reason, maybe it just. Who knows? Maybe I'm on the verge of something here. If it works and it stops itching. Right? Maybe I could come out with the first duct tape to relieve mosquito bites. You never know.
Hey,
anyway,
look, you lost money tonight. If you can make some bucks out of that, I'm all for it, but
I
don't think this thing's gonna be working for you.
I could have made some real nice bucks if you would have saw my bet on the Vegas Golden Knights to cover 1.5, and I was just about to click send, and then I said, nah, my God, this is what it is, folks. This is what it is on these apps. But anyway, have fun with it. Have fun with it. Jeremy, your thoughts on the game tonight? Your thoughts on the game tonight?
Honestly, I thought they played pretty well, but I have a question for you both.
Yeah.
I've been watching lots of the games.
Yeah.
And I've seen lots of the players snake bitten, right? It's not just the high producing ones that Cole Caulfield should be at, maybe hopefully 15, 16 right now, but he's kind of slowing down a little bit. But almost every forward on the Montreal Canadiens right now has been snake bitten or is currently snake bitten. So I'm not hitting the panic button right now, but at what point do we say coaching needs to spark a change? I know they don't have high offensive talent right now, but looking at previous years, it's higher than it was before. So my question to you guys, is it inexperience with Marty, or is it just a rough patch that they're going through, trying out a new coach, trying out new systems, new playmaking abilities? What do you think?
Nick, I'll give you the opportunity to answer first. I know I have my opinion on this.
There is some variance involved in this, and I think it's going to correct somehow in the second half of the season. So that's one part. The second part is, I think you alluded to it. I mean, snake bitten, not snake bitten. There's not that much talent on the roster. So I don't know how many goals we were expecting out of this group, but okay, maybe they could have had 10 or 15 more goals than they do right now. But I don't think they're that much snake bitten. If you look at, I would be curious to look after this show at the expected goals for the Canadiens to see how snake bitten they are. But I really think this is a function of the lack of offensive talent in this group right now, and it's something. I mean, they're on a rebuild, okay, so it's something that's going to be fixed over the following years. I mean, you saw some of that. I mean, Joshua Roy, he was playing tonight. I mean, we haven't noticed him on the ice, and he didn't do too well in those two games. But I saw him in Laval. He's a very high hockey player. When you're going to bring those players in, when you're going to develop those ice skill forwards, you're not going to be talking about players snake bitten that much, because those players have talent. Those players can pick the corners. So it's a problem that's going to correct itself over the next few years. I don't think it's Martin St. Louis' fault. I don't think Martin St. Louis is extinguishing anything.
All right, this is what I think. They're a below average team going into the season, and they lose Kirby Dach 4 periods in, and he's out for the year.
Exactly.
And Dvorak misses the first month, plays the second, then he gets injured, and he's out for the remainder of the year. And Raphael Harvey-Pinard missed a couple of months. And Goulet missed 4 games. And Savard missed 6 weeks. And the defense and defensemen like that, they add to the offense of the team, of course. And Newhook is there for the first month and a half and puts up real good numbers, all things considering, coming from a new team. And he gets hurt, and he's out for 4 months. So now you have a team that finished 5th last year, that did not get considerably better in the offseason, that is still very young and struggles with consistency, and then has the injuries that they had. If they don't score a lot of goals at 5-on-5, or they don't get a lot of goals from their forwards, I think it's got nothing to do with Marty St. Louis. Nothing. You know what I think has to do with Marty St. Louis? That the Canadiens can compete with the Colorado Avalanche despite all those injuries the way they did tonight. That the Canadiens, yes, Montembeault stole the game, but showed that they can compete versus Dallas and they can compete versus the Rangers. The way the Canadiens are going toe-to-toe with some of these big-time teams, with all the injuries they have and have had, I got to tell you, makes me very optimistic for the future. It makes me very optimistic for the future. Big time.
So you guys think with Doc, with Newhook, with all the injuries out, where do you think realistically they'd be right now? You see where they're at? They're what, 6 points away, 7 points away from a playoff spot?
Look,
they're in a playoff spot?
I'll say this. I'm not going to say if all the injured players didn't get injured because that's not realistic either, right? But why don't we say this? Take a look at the players that have been out so far this season. If those players would have missed half the games that they missed, so you cut down the injuries by 50%, I think the Canadiens are in a wild card spot right now.
Oh.
Well, they're not that far off, Nick. Mozitomo.
I think they have. Yeah, they might have a couple more wins.
Well, if they have a win per month, is that realistic?
Sure, a win per month.
Okay, a win per month.
Well, hey,
all right.
That's 6 points. That's a wild card spot.
That's a wild card spot.
Yeah. I mean, the goalies have been playing so well too. So.
Yeah, but I mean, the goalies would still play well.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. That muddies the water for me a bit. I mean, they're just. I don't think that this play is going to hold up. I mean, at some point, they're going to give up some bad goals.
Tampa Bay right now is in the second wild card spot. They have 6 points up on the Montreal Canadiens, and the Canadiens have a game in hand. So you give the Montreal Canadiens 1 win per month, one in October, November, December, January. That's 4 more wins right now. Season started mid-October. We're mid-January.
Yeah.
November, December, January, October, November, December, January. 4 months. Well, actually, October to January is
we could say
mid-October to mid-January is actually 3 months. Yeah, so I think they're there. I think they're knocking on the door. Appreciate your call, my man. Thanks so much. Let's get to more calls.
Hey,
Let's why don't we get to no problem at all. All right, thank you for doing that. Well, do we have one more? Do we want to get to one more? Yes or no? We're going to get to one more. Last one, all right? Sylvain is in Montréal. Sylvain, comment ça va?
No, from Blainville. How are you, Tony?
Ah, from Blainville. Comment ça va, Blainville?
Everything goes beautiful. Thank you, Tony. Always a pleasure talking to you.
All right. Ça fait
Tony,
plaisir. Merci beaucoup.
Quick question for you. I love the game, of course. I like my team. I have a question. At the trading time, would you keep Madison or Savard, or you will let go both of them? That's one of my questions. Another one is, would you go and get Trevor Zegras to put with Doc and Monahan? Because I would keep Monahan because he brings a lot of experience for the forwards. And he got 80 points, in a certain season. So he's point-wise our best player. But on the first line with Doc and, let's say, Zegras. And would you keep Madison or Savard? I think Savard. So these are my questions so far, my friend.
OK. Je vais répondre à ça. Let's keep Sylvain on the line. Puis je vais le faire en français. Merci de me poser la question dans ta deuxième langue. Et moi, je vais te répondre dans ma deuxième langue. Donc, je vais dire ça, and I will translate. Moi, je change ni Savard, ni Matheson cette année. Ni un, ni l'autre. Le contrat de Savard, ça prend fin l'année prochaine. Moi, je change David Savard l'année prochaine à la date limite des transactions. Et l'année après ça, je change Michael Matheson. Sur ça, je vais faire répondre à Nicolas Cloutier. Nick, what I said was, I'm not trading neither Savard or Matheson right away. I hold on to them for this season. I'll trade David Savard next year at the deadline, and I'll trade Michael Matheson the year after that at the deadline. Your thoughts?
But I do think it's logical because they are the only 2 vets on that blue line, and you cannot have only youngsters on a blue line. So they do need these vets to develop. So it fits. It's more logical within your timeline because we can expect some more demand to come in over the next few years. So they're going to replace Madison. They're going to play or Savard or some of the youngsters that we already have on will by this point have become young vets. So it makes more sense than just going with a rookie blue line or with youngsters on the blue line and trading the only 2 vets.
Sylvain, est-ce que tu avais une autre question?
Yeah, another thing is, would you go for, because we're lacking talent. Zegras has full of talent. Would you go for him to put on the first line with Doc and somebody else? Would you?
J'adore le talent. J'adore le talent. I love talent. J'adore le talent de Zegras. I love Zegras' talent. I question Zegras' compete level. I'm going to tell you what I think you're getting. Okay?
Oh, okay.
I think you're getting a player with Kovalev characteristics. Je pense que t'acquiers un joueur avec des caractéristiques d'Alex Kovalev. And as you recall, Kovalev could wow the fans. There were games where you loved him, and there were games where you didn't want him on your team. And I think that's the kind of player that Zegras is. Now, I love talent. Would I take Zegras on my team? I wouldn't say no. Yes, I would. I don't think Zegras is a Jeff Gorton, Kent Hughes, Marty St. Louis kind of player in terms of the culture they're trying to build here. I could be wrong. Maybe they feel that Zegras would bring out the best in Caulfield. Or maybe he wouldn't be a good influence on Caulfield. I can't speak for them. I love the player in terms of the talent. I don't think they're going to go after him because of the culture they're trying to build here. Nicolas?
Hey, I'm going to say this, Tony. If they were enamored by Trevor Zegras type players, they would have drafted Matvei Mishkov. So end of discussion for me.
Okay.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second. I understand your point, but they didn't draft Michkov not only because he's a Zegras kind of player. They didn't draft Michkov because he's a Russian playing in the KHL who signed a contract extension that was for 3 years that he wouldn't be able to make it to the National Hockey League. And the teams there can screw around with your development, and they can sit you and not play you or bench you to try and get you to sign another contract if they think that you're going to go to the National Hockey League one day. And there's a risk of actually signing an extension and staying in the KHL longer than those 3 years. Those are other reasons why they didn't draft Mitch.
Look at the forwards they drafted since Kent Hughes has been running the show. They're all two-way forwards. They only draft two-way forwards.
But I hope they'll do like who Surpent said about Trevor Connolly. I looked at him seriously. Oh, my goodness. He's going to be something else.
Serpent, eh?
I mean, Trevor Connolly. Serpent is like out on him. But we don't have to talk too much about him because they're, I think, drafting him in the draft list, like 13, 12, something like that. Pretty good. I don't think he's there. And Simon Boisvert has him second. So let's wait on that.
Yeah, we will. We'll definitely wait. But I like the fact that you called him Serpent. I have to have T-shirts made for that guy. I got to tell you. They call him the Snake. I call him
right.
Serpent.
Serpent.
Hey, Sylvain, merci beaucoup. Hein? Merci, j'apprécie ton appel énormément.
Okay, very well. Yes.
Merci, mon ami. Merci. C'est bien gentil de ta part de m'appeler. All right, there you have it. That was Sylvain in beautiful Blainville. On that note, Nicolas Cloutier, we went overtime tonight, my friend. Look at that. It's already 11:09 p.m. It feels real good to be back in the studios of the Sick Podcast right here. And once again, thanks so much, Nicolas Cloutier of TVA Sport, for your collaboration tonight and everything you brought to the table, man. You brought it tonight.
Thank you, Tony. Now get some rest, okay?
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna get some. I can't sleep on the plane. Am I the only one who?
No, I cannot sleep on the plane. For the life of me, I cannot sleep on the plane. I don't know how people do it.
By the way, if anyone was on a plane returning to Montreal last night, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You didn't have to be on mine, but whether you're on coming from anywhere, the turbulence last night was. It was unbelievable. Oh, it was unbelievable. Oh, man, it was. Oh, I was scared.
Oh, you were scared?
Yeah. I have to tell you, I was scared. And at one point, we were supposed to land at 7:50 p.m. and we didn't land. I think we ended up landing like 25 minutes later. At one point, we were landing, and then all of a sudden, just felt the plane go all the way up, and the pilot said, "Sorry, we were refused clearance to land." Oh. So we were just going round and round until we got clearance to land. But there were big gusts of wind last night. But for those who were coming in, and I know a friend of mine was coming in from New York. I know another friend of mine was coming in from Toronto. It just seemed like all three of us had like a pretty bad turbulence experience last night, but we all made it back safe and sound. So special thanks to all those great pilots and staff for making it as, a difficult condition, just getting us here safe and sound. We appreciate it. All right. Okay. Thanks, Nick. We'll talk to you soon, my man.
Thanks. Hey, before I go, are you going to rip off that duct tape?
You want to? Okay. You know what? Let's do that. Hold on a second. Let's do that. Hold on. I'm going to do this. Hold on.
Hey. Careful, your hamstrings.
You ready?
Wasn't too bad.
The itch is gone. The itch is gone.
Is it really though?
I'm telling you, the itch is gone. Tonight on the Sick Podcast, we just came out with a new anti-itch formula, and it has to do with duct tape. But of course, the duct
no
tape,
air on the duct tape, though. That's why it didn't hurt.
The duct tape is actually no. I don't have any hair on my body other than on my head.
Makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah,
Okay, Tony.
Yeah,
good job on that.
Maybe a little bit too personal, but I'll tell you this.
Okay.
I don't like hair on my body.
Okay.
So you will not find one hair on my chest, on my armpits, on my arms, on my hands, on my legs. I don't like hair.
So I'm never gonna see bearded Tony.
Well, I do grow facial hair, but yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
But you're right. If I had hair on my ankle here where I had that mosquito bite, maybe it would be even more effective. But you know what? The itch is gone. I was itching. Did you see me slouching down? I was like itching and scratching like the whole time. And at one point, I just saw this duct tape and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put duct tape on it to make it stop and let's see what happens. And you know what? I think it stopped. I think we're onto something here. We just have to add some kind of, some kind of cream or gel inside the duct tape, and we have my own invention here.
You know what? I'm still skeptical, but as long as I'm included as an investor in this, no problem with that. All right,
okay,
Tony.
my man. We'll talk to you soon. All right, cheers. All right, there you have it. Nicolas Cloutier of TVA Sport. Special thanks to everyone watching, everyone listening. If you liked it, comment sick and then share it with your friends. And leave us a 5-star review on Apple if you can. It's our way of feeling the love. For Labita TB, for Energy Transportation Group, for Accent Insurance Solutions, and for Playground, I'm Marinaro. It's the Sick Podcast. We'll be back tomorrow night, same time, same place. And once again, the Montreal Canadiens beat the Colorado Avalanche by a score of 4-3 on goals by Juraj Slafkovsky on the power play, tying the game at 1 before the first period was up. Rafael Harvey-Pinard with his first of the season, tying the game up at 2 just before the second period was up. And in period number 3, it's Caulfield who give the Canadiens a 3-2 lead, and Armia who ended up scoring the game-winning goal with 4 minutes and 10 seconds left in regulation on a backhand in close. Jake Allen, big night for him. The Canadiens outshot 35-34. He picks up the win versus the Colorado Avalanche. The Canadiens are going to be back at it again on Wednesday night. They take their show on the road, but between now and then, I'll be back tomorrow night, same time, same place. The Sick Podcast, weeknights at 10 p.m. For Agnello, Sammy, and Juliana at Master Control, I'm Marinaro.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaVie.tv, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.